Hi everyone. So if you were at our first look a couple of minutes ago, welcome back. And if you weren't, welcome to our on air. And today we will have Victoria joining us. And my name is Maiya. I am a rising sophomore. I am studying management science and engineering, and I am your design OC. But let's wait for Victoria before we get started. Okay, I see.
Hello.
Hello.
Gotta get the good lighting. None of the lighting is good lighting. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good.
All right. So, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, as you guys are probably tired of hearing already, my name is Victoria. I am a rising junior. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a psych major.
We're not tired of hearing that.
Never.
Never. All right. So, without further ado, we should jump into some questions.
Yes, please.
So, let's do this one. What has been the most challenging thing to adjust to?
Yeah, like being in Zoom and at home and stuff. I think just the lack of things happening. Like really, I go to the grocery store a lot less. I go out a lot less. I talk to people less. And that's not necessarily always a bad thing, but I have gotten like rusty at it. And I think I'm like, oh, like all of my friends are gonna come to me and like be the ones that are gonna reach out. But I think like needing to adjust to like, oh, I'm the one who should probably text first now is probably was challenging for me at first. What about you?
I think relatively the same thing because I mean, when you're on campus, like friends are so close and so nearby because you can just like hop into their dorm and be like, oh, hey, what's up, right? But now you have to like actually like make an effort and like talk to them, like message them, like make sure to check up on them to see what's happening. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Would you recommend doing work in study groups, and how should we go about that?
Yeah, so like if you're online and then like, if you're a Frosh and we don't know like how the exact flow of like the classwork is going to be even on campus, I would recommend probably just reaching out, like we said before, reaching out in your classes during your lecture, maybe, chat some people who look friendly or that, if they speak up a lot, like they're probably looking to engage with, like classmates as well. So reaching out to them, I guess like what that might look like, or at least like in my experience when I did do some Zoom study groups during my spring quarter, was just like, yeah, calling in, quizzing each other, completing a study guide, stuff like that. And, this like online stuff just takes practice and it just gets easier every single time. So that's what I have to say. Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. Okay. Sorry, technical difficulties.
Oh, good.
Okay. Someone said it's hard to see your face, so I'm trying to get rid of this question, but I don't know how to because I'm technologically incapable. Okay, anyways, let's just keep going. I'm sorry,
Sure, sounds good. Here, maybe like zoom out. I don't know.
So someone asked, how do you take leadership roles during COVID, if any?
What do you think?
I don't know how to interpret this, like clubs, or I think as an incoming freshman, I would say that like just like when you're first starting, you won't it's hard to have leadership roles, especially when like upperclassmen have that chance already. So I mean, I think other than that, like you can take leadership roles in class too, right? Like you can like be the lead of a project, stuff like that. I'm not sure. What do you think?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I think, a common urge and like a valid urge is from freshmen is to like, oh, I have to get into leadership right away. And I think like you know, while that's great, I think in order to become a leader, you first have to be a follower and like get the flow of college and get the flow of Stanford and clubs like that. But I think even just like expressing interest first as a general member leads to that like future as a leader. And even just like voicing interest early is really important.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Someone asked, maybe I'll just click the questions so they appear on here. I don't know. Okay, well, let's just go with this. So, which classes have transferred well to an online format?
Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to? It's up to you.
You can go.
Okay. I would say like the best are like those lecture like style classes where, you know, if you're looking online or in person, it's going to be someone talking to you with a PowerPoint and you taking notes. As well as just like, and I've said this like before, just discussion classes are also really good, because I think, you know, everyone when you're on camera, I think it's like a little like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And like you're provoked to talk more. And I think that's actually really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think other than lab classes, most classes will be transferred to an online format. And I'm going to pub tree sources here, so you should check out Academic Advising plus Tree Sources video that we uploaded to YouTube. And I think many of the professors are working really hard to transfer their classes to an online format and not just change the classes like directly to an online format. They're like working to make it like better for specifically like virtual classes. Yeah. Okay. How can we get involved with extracurriculars this fall during COVID?
Do you want to go first? Do you want me to? Do you?
You can go first.
Okay. I guess to that, I would have to say, like my clubs and stuff, it really became, no matter what like the central focus was, it really became more of like a social thing if they had to be on like a Zoom format. So like my singing group, we call in once a week, and you know, we couldn't really sing on like through this. They haven't mastered that technology yet, but we were just still able to talk about our interests and how we're doing. And like after a while of singing with these people, like of course they were all my friends. So I think even just having like interests in things and like voicing that, you'll like meet clumps of people who will be able to talk, even if you can't like execute whatever activity that is.
Yeah, I know that many dance groups also do like virtual calls, and then they have like people teaching the dance. So I think, um, yeah, just, I mean, it's gonna be a little different with different clubs, but like many clubs will try to do them virtually. So if you're not on campus, then that's always an option. Also, I forgot to mention, if you have any questions, you can always just ask us right now. Yeah, and we'll answer them live. Someone asked, what is one piece of motivation that you'd use to get us through Zoom University? Victoria.
Okay, so say you answer one first next time.
Okay.
What's a piece of like motivation?
Yeah, let me get the question up.
Or like a tip, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I guess, I don't know. And hopefully you guys are coming from the first look, or if not, that's great. But our OC Isaac said, like, keeping your eye on the prize, it's really easy to get bogged down in the moment of, ugh, this reading is boring, or this lecture is boring, or I'm nervous for this test. But like, this is just the first step into what will be like your whole Stanford career, which is just, you know, has so much potential. And like, even like as a rising junior, I look to that at like, oh my gosh, like my inspo and stuff like that. So eye on the prize, like Isaac said.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Because we tend to get like caught up with like the small things, I guess, sometimes. So like, yeah, focus on like getting that degree, you know, like do what it takes to like take those classes, you know.
And then I guess, sorry, to like finish that, like not necessarily motivation, but like ease is like the whole world is like halted right now. So like your trajectory of getting that internship or taking those classes and stuff, I think everyone, any professor or person in like higher authority understands what's going on. And, you know, the expectations might not be as high, or, you know, maybe they never were as high as you thought, and that's okay, because it takes time.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Let's do this question. How do you gain a sense of community in your dorm? Okay, so I'll go this time. Community. So I lived in Okada my freshman year, and that's the Asian American ethnic theme dorm. And there, we basically had like dorm meetings every week on Wednesdays, and that would foster like a lot of community, and also a lot of other upperclassmen would host like little Zoom sessions where they would be like, "Oh, we're gonna watch so and so like show," or like I remember one time it was like Tara's house, like come watch it with us, or just like come study with us, and we'll play like music in the background. Yeah, so I think that's a way that community was like continued to be fostered throughout like a virtual time. What about you, Victoria?
Yeah, I can't really say like virtually as like a sophomore, because like the vibe is definitely different, especially as a sophomore who wasn't in 4-class housing with Frosh. But I think just like in like a time where like dorm community might be smaller, that's even like a better opportunity to get to know everyone and like see what programming your RAs in the future will like put together to like make sure you guys can have that opportunity to like chat and get to know each other. And I guess just being honest and like expressing your interests, and that'll be like that's always the way to go.
Yes. Okay. So, what do you think we should focus most on during our first year of college? Victoria.
Yeah, I think just like getting your feet wet. It's so easy to dive headfirst into everything you do. But I don't know, taking it slow, like exploring clubs a little bit, and then, especially like taking the first couple of weeks to like really dedicate to your classes and acclimate, I think is really important. So I think like obviously it's hard to say like, oh, focus on everything, but like focus on what's important to you and take that time to realize what's important to you by first trying everything out a little bit and then going from there.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, explore, find what you like, find what interests you, right? You're here for education, but also like don't forget to have like fun and relax once in a while. I think a lot of people are undecided with their major. So yeah, like explore classes, like take classes that you might not even think you would like, but like want to give it a shot, right? Because you never know what you might find interesting. Yeah.
Really, don't be closed-minded with classes or like what you think you're gonna be doing, because it changes.
Yes. Okay. Well, let's see. How might on-campus jobs work?
Ooh, yeah, I can't speak to that, but I'm assuming, with life coming back to campus, no matter how little or how, great, like they will need people to like do some of those things, like helping welcome to the bookstore and stuff like that. So I can't really say, but I would hope that the opportunities will happen in some capacity.
Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, we don't know anything as of right now. Like we know as much as like the incoming Frosh and transfers do. So really everything's up in the air, but hopefully on-campus jobs will still be there.
Yeah. And again, like even like if you're asking like financially, like, oh, work study, I will probably like whoever might need a job to get that. I know the university is like taking that in consideration. And if that's a concern, I'm sure they're working at making that, not a concern.
Yeah.
This is
Okay.
the last one, maybe.
Yeah. And if you have any other questions, just ask them and we will get to them at a later time. So, what do you two miss most about your campus life at Stanford? Oh, so sad.
But a good question, and
yeah, definitely.
like light at the end of the tunnel that I'll be back there soon. Probably, honestly, the weather. The weather is amazing. I'm in Arizona and it's super, super hot, and I miss just being able to have my window open or like going for a walk and it not being 100 degrees. So definitely just the location itself.
Yeah, I I would agree with the weather. Um, in New Jersey, it's very humid, and in California, it's rather dry, so that's very nice. And on top of that, I would say like I guess just like the community, you know, and like the friends that like you have access to them. Like they're literally right there. Like you could just walk over, right? But like when you're back home, it's completely different, right? And like the community that you have when you're like physically there is it's good.
It is the best. It's like
Yeah.
a warm
So
hug always.
yeah, I miss
Um,
that. But I mean, you can always like check in on them when you're back home, like just FaceTime, do whatever it takes, you know? Yeah.
exactly.
So if you have any more questions, ask them. You can DM us. We'll get back to them. And yeah, thanks for joining us for On Air with Maya and Victoria.
Yeah, and thank you, Maya, for being the host of this. So thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. All right. Well, have a good night, or I don't know what time zone y'all are in, but have a good day, have a good night. Yeah. Oh, also, pubbing tree sources again, pubbing first look. Join us. Those are great sessions. And there will be more info and content to come. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.